Good 15th of May, just past Mother's Day on this overcast but beautiful, hazy 15th of May, mid-May, first of the week of this brand new week on this gorgeous mid-spring day in the greater Gary, Indiana metropolitan area in northwestern Indiana. This is Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing. Bell notification, like the channel, subscribe and share, comment down below to help promote and educate the YouTube sphere. Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing, and this is a very important update here as we look at some of the criminal activity allegedly going on in the Joe Biden administration and the Joe Biden family. And part of what our new series is on with feedback, a government feedback loop, and the way the government or the central controller of Washington puts out propaganda in order to move the populace or the peasants or sheep into the will that they want, and the way they think, the way they act, the way they move, and the way they demand things to change is all put out by Washington. And you can see, if you just look out for better or worse, if you like or dislike, approve or disapprove of former President Donald Trump, look at the way they still cover that guy. On any and every little thing, they try to make it out like he's an orchestrated criminal with the mob, essentially. And they bring up nonsense in the way they push things and present things and narrate things is atrocious. And when you go and look at what's going on the other side with the Hunter Biden, the suppression of that information during the last presidential election, whether you like Biden, hate Trump, love Trump, or hate Biden, you could see they suppressed the Hunter Biden information and the corruption going on with foreign national governments, money changing hands, and information, and the way the national media poo-poos it, downplays it, outright hides and misleads the public on what's really going on with President Joe Biden and the massive corruption and what looks to be massive felonies and major violations of the law for a sitting president with shell corporations, where it looks to be where he's making massive amounts of money, and the payments and the money's coming from foreign countries and foreign nationals and heads of foreign states, which looks to be bribes or money to get things done in the way they want it.
I don't know if they're revelations, but to me it seems like very concrete proof that President Joe Biden, while he was Vice President of the United States, was basically the patriarch of an organized crime family.
And that is a very strong opinion by one Peter Schiff right there, who has strong opinions. But the evidence is out in the forefront now, and it's a massive cover-up, and it's a massive where they have the mainstream media, which gets the propaganda from Washington on the way they want to spin this. And if this was Donald Trump right now, he would be in jail. He'd be in jail for a very long time. Members of the Biden family and their business associates raked in millions of dollars from foreign entities during and after Joe Biden's time as vice president, using nearly 24 companies and taking advantage of a vast networks of sketchy behavior.
The Republicans had a press conference today in which they presented a very compelling case that the president and his family committed crimes, and particularly Joe Biden, because he was the vice president. He's the one that took an oath. He's the one that peddled his influence, not even to Americans.
You can see this coming out of Washington. Members receiving, Joe Biden's family members receiving payments from China Energy Company. Gee, I wonder why they're doing that, as they're systematically destroying our energy in the United States. They're getting payments from China because as we hurt and destroy our energy here domestically, that only makes China more powerful, more valuable in the energy world, and enriches them more.
But to foreigners, to foreign interests, he basically accepted over $10 million in bribes, which is basically what this was.
$10 million into his shell corporations, Washington. Today, the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability issued a memorandum revealing new evidence resulting from the investigation into Biden's family influencing, peddling, and business schemes. Subpoenaed financial records show from 2015 to 2017, Biden's family members, Hunter Biden, James Biden, Haley Biden, and an unknown Biden and their companies collectively received 1.3 million in payments from accounts related to Rob Walker, a Biden family associate. Where that money come from? Why did they get that money? And companies and businesses that were made that have no real business, they don't do anything. They're shell companies. They're hiding money. They're hiding money they're getting. This is all money laundering, in my own personal opinion. And if you look at what money laundering is in the United States, and it's being hidden and suppressed by Washington, and that feedback loop to keep the masses dumbed down and docile and not able to see the obvious on what's going on.
Over the 8 years he was vice president, and the way he was able to launder all of this criminal money, because this is a crime, earning money this way. When you're the vice president and you are selling influence, you are using your authority for the advantage of people who have paid you money.
Selling information as vice president, making shell companies, receiving millions of dollars in cash payments through him and his members of his direct family, immediate family, daughters, wives, sons. And all this is being covered up while they're trying to prosecute Donald Trump on federal or state charges that they're saying is a federal law they broke, and campaign finance laws, when the federal government, supposedly the law that they're breaking, didn't charge Donald Trump with anything. And if they did, the penalty is just a fine. When the New York federal warrant, they're trying to charge him with a felony when the crime that they're accusing him of breaking isn't even a felony under the federal law that he's breaking. It's a misdemeanor and campaign finance bullshit. But this, the media is covering up, suppressing, and trying to make it out like it's a witch hunt, or you're racist, or you're sexist, or you're homophobic, or you're whatever. If you're showing this, showing true crime, true selling information, and true federal crimes and felonies, right? Notable, on March 1st, 2017, Vice President Joe Biden left public office. State Energy Hong Kong Limited, a Chinese company, wired $3 million. And notice nobody's looking into this. Nobody in the mainstream corporate propagandist machine, CNN, MSNBC, all these scumbags. No one's talking about this. The politicians in Washington, obviously, $3 million to Rob Walker's company. The next day, the company wired $1.065 million associated with James Giller, another Biden family associate. Afterwards, the Biden family received approximately $1.065 million in payments over a 3-month period in different banks. Why would they be wiring money from a Chinese bank to a corporate friend of Joe Biden that then over 3 months wires separate payments into separate bank accounts multiple times to that total amount of money? Because they're doing it in secret. They're hiding payments. They're hiding money that was paid for a reason from a Chinese business, a Chinese company, a Chinese country, for a reason to Joe Biden for things and favors that he did for the country, for that business and that company, right? And it's being hidden and no one's talking about it.
Directly paid you money to do something, and then you do something in exchange for that bribe. That is illegal. And then when you try to disguise the illegal nature of that money through complicated structures, you are laundering that money. You are committing multiple crimes. And I think the Republicans have already made a very compelling case that you don't need to be Perry Mason to get a conviction of Joe Biden. After he was elected president, the Republicans reported that the Biden family created 16 shell companies, all these LLCs with different names, but not a single legitimate business purpose for any of these companies. I mean, first of all, why do they need 16 companies, right?
Exactly. That's a great question, Mr. Peter Schiff. Why would Joe Biden and his family need almost 20 companies, shell companies? Because they're getting these shell companies, they're using them as money laundering schemes. He's an organized crime, Joe Biden and the Joe Biden family, like a mobster, like a mob gang, a criminal operation is what's going on here. And what's being alleged is Joe Biden and the Biden family is running an organized crime operation. That's why you would need nearly 20 LLCs that you created after you became president, and multiple more while you were vice president, to be getting money transferred into multiple different bank accounts from families of friends, payments from other foreign national countries, because that's what an organized crime syndicate does to launder money, is what's going on here and what's being said and what we're talking about. He's laundering money. He's taking bribes and payments for favors to other countries, other corporations and businesses. And it's a joke and it's a sham that nobody in the mainstream and the average novelty peasant and sheep is brainwashed to look the other way, not ask questions, and to just say that dirty, evil, racist Donald Trump, or the bigotry, or the homosexual bigotry, or the whatever they want to call you, transphobic, homophobic, this phobic, plant phobic, anti-poor phobic, greedy capitalist phobia, whatever they want to do. This man is doing what the organized crime and the mob does. They get businesses, they open up laundromats or delis or restaurants as fronts for their organized crime and racketeering and drug selling and the rest of it, prostitution, to launder the money, right?
And now these 16 companies with no legitimate business purpose, no operation, no product, no service, they all start getting paid over $10 million. And who knows, maybe it's a lot more than 10 million. I don't know, they said over 10 million. And all the money is coming from foreign entities, right? China or other countries are paying all this money to these shell companies. And then the shell companies start moving the money around without any purpose among each other, right? Money goes from one to the other. And then ultimately it gets distributed to Joe Biden's family. Just his family. 9 different family members received money from these 16 shell companies. You got his brother that got money, his daughter-in-law.
9 different family members. Why would 9 different Biden family members, or the head of the organized crime, Joe Biden, and the Joe Biden organized crime syndicate and family, why would they be getting payments into these shell companies? Because they're being paid off. The Biden family is being paid off for their things and their favors and the favorable laws that they've done for these countries and these businesses and these people. They're being paid back into these shell corporations to get their money to be paid off and the other end of the deal to be held. They're being paid for the favors that they did for the Chinese or for this business or for that friend. They're being paid. Wake the fuck up. This is part of the hyper government feedback loop that they use of propaganda that starts in Washington.
His wife, even his ex-wife, got in on the action. His grandkids were getting money. Nieces and nephews were getting...
Systematically, over generations, decades, and centuries, brainwashed from children on all the way up here to death on how they use propaganda and brainwashing to move the way of the opinion of the masses or the sheep or the peasants think, feel, and react to situations. It's all predetermined and how the government does it. And that's what we're about to show you, some of what's going on right now. And I hope you like that, and I hope you enjoyed that. But if we look at the XRP price in this emergency video, you got the 37 cents as your major underneath support. You got the 51 cents as your major overhead resistance. And that's what we're looking at right now in the XRP price and the short-term time frame. Nothing has really changed from there. If we look at the Bitcoin price, you can see the Bitcoin price is trying to pump. And now you see how the Bitcoin price is trying to pump. And that might be what the rest of the market's going to do. You notice how it's trying to pump there? And what we're going to watch for the Bitcoin price is for it to come back test now this upper resistance that used to be the rising channel that we were in green, right? And then the VP volume indicator. So the uptrending green line and the horizontal or running from left to right, VP volume indicator in red is your major upper resistance starting at about 27,740 and then running up to that 30,000 VP volume indicator. And what we're talking about of that resistance level is right there. You can see that VP in green. You had your upper resistance in green on the green rising channel. You can see some upper resistance there. Then you had your lower support right here on your bottom part in green of your rising channel. And then you can see some more upper resistance, some more lower support. And now you've actually dipped down below it. So if you want to get bullish, you need to get back above the moving averages in the 4-hour time frame, which you're sneaking and slithering on right now, and then break back above. Like, subscribe, and share. Peace and love.